Hi everyone, it's Laurie. I wanted to do a video response to Jennifer Ball's Spiritual Garage, the questions on deck storage. I'm filming on the iPad right now because the phone I usually film on is out of batteries and it's charging, and Gracie and I are going to be making some videos later today, so I needed to charge that up. So I'm going to try to film on the iPad. I'm not very, I've never done it before, so we'll see what happens. But I wanted to show you where I store my decks and, you know, some other things like that. So, okay. Okay, back. Turning around. The camera was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. This is a corner of my bedroom. Here, let me just swing. Oh, look, there I am. Swing around a little bit. Yeah, I don't have a butler like Jennifer does, but I do have a teddy. So let's start out now with where I store my decks. I have this tall IKEA bookshelf. It has cubes on it. Up there on the top are my summer decks. Next down are Goddess and some oracles. Next down are what I consider my winter decks. These are some nature decks, things like that, pendulums. Next down, I currently have the decks that I'm working with at the moment. A lot of these are autumnal kind of decks. Next one is Halloween decks. The next shelf is books that are related to specific decks. And then the next shelf has some of my notes and things like that. I've got 2 spread cloths there and some tarot in large boxes. Okay, ooh, while I'm down here, let me show you this is my little inner child basket where I keep my decks that I do some inner child work on. I keep them covered, just so, not because they're secret, just because they're, I don't know, makes them kind of special. And the decks I'm currently using for that are the Animal Wisdom Tarot, the Crystal Tarot, the Fairy Tale Fortune cards, which is a Lenormand deck, but it's really wonderful. I saw this on Amber and Wonderland's channel, and then I had an opportunity to grab them, and those work very well for some inner child stuff. And my favorite is the Fairy Tale Lenormand. Also under the desk, there's a notebook. I keep my edging supplies. So some of these little ink pads, bigger ink pads here. My really big scissors. These are the Jim Holtz little ink pads. So this is fanning powder, which I could talk about sometime, about how I use it and what it does if anyone is interested. It works super well for sticky decks, especially high gloss sticky decks that don't shuffle very well or that stick together. Okay, this is kind of my reading working area. I have more books on the shelf up here. Also, there we are, my Aura Farbinder Angle, and the Aura books. I'm currently kind of studying those. Top shelf is a little kind of sacred space where I can put things. My daughter gave me that beautiful artwork from Terry Foss. She has an Etsy shop. We like her art a lot. These are some of my bullet journals that I'm working with right now. I just got this deck, and so I just started looking at it. I left it out, and I've got one of the cards displayed. In here are my office supplies, pens, pencils, things like that. And let's see, over to the side, I have a bulletin board, and I just put this up recently. I was inspired by Simon of Two Spirit, where he displays a lot of his extra cards. And I have some other of my little things that I've picked up along the way. Leo, what are you doing? Here's my little corner with some shelves my husband made for me, where I can kind of display some different things that are important to me. So question number 2, do you keep the boxes? If it's quite a nice box, I like to keep it. For instance, here's the sacred Oh, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to see very well. Sacred Geometry cards. They come in a pull-out box like this. And it had one of those cardboard inserts that the deck can go inside. But I keep it in just an inexpensive organza bag along with the book. In fact, I do that with quite a few decks, such as, here was the Crystal Tarot from my Inner Child basket. Inside here, I keep the deck in an organza bag. It fits really beautifully. I love these particular boxes. They're from Chico Books, the Druid Craft. And I'll just keep the deck right in the box. That's a lovely box. Then there are some boxes that I don't like as well. For example, the Wildwood. I have this in the box right now because I'm not working with it, but when I start to work with it, I'm going to take it out of the box because the deck is split. I understand it's convenient. I'm not a fan of boxes that are so thin that the decks need to be split. So some decks that I don't use super often, I will keep in the tuck boxes. I tend to not like to keep tuck boxes if I don't have to. If I don't use this tuck box and say I decided to take it out and put it in a bag, I would fold the tuck box flat and keep it in a bag in my drawer. Okay, next question. Do you pair your deck with a bag? What materials do you prefer? I like handmade bags the best. This is my nicest bag that I have. I bought this especially made on Etsy. And it flips open like this. This is actually made from Dupani silk. And I keep my Devas of Creation deck in here, and this is my cheat sheet for the Devas of Creation, so that I don't necessarily have to pull the book out. I made a little cheat sheet. This is like the Cadillac of bags. Most other bags, let's see, are either bags that I bought or made. This one was purchased from Talitha, T-A-L-I-T-H-A, Talitha's Altar on Etsy. She's in the U.S. Her bags are super reasonable. Most of them I think are under $10 a piece. And they're hand-sewn, hand-quilted bags with an interesting button, and they're slightly padded, which is nice. I don't usually like drawstring. This one I didn't make. I just found it at Target for $1. I had to restring the drawstring because it was in wrong. It wasn't in properly, a proper drawstring. This is because I sew, so I'm a little bit grumpy, but one string should go in here, around the back, and out and tie, and that's one length of string. The second length of string should go in the other side, around the back, out and tie, so that when you grab both elastics, or both knots, I'm sorry, that the string pulls together. In this bag, isn't it adorable? It's just $1. I keep my trimmed, very old, my first deck. Oh, this deck I just made. I'm slowly getting back to sewing after my surgery. Yeah, I think it turned out okay. At the moment I'm keeping my Raven's Prophecy in here. I make a lot of project bags for knitting, and I like to line them in white so that nothing comes off. Some are bought bags. I bought this at 10,000 Villages. I have a couple of smaller ones. I wanted a bag for the Truth and Story Lenormand. I was going to get a really fancy bag, but I went to the Dollar Tree, and they had, this is our little dog. We actually have a little dog who looks exactly like this. It's a Pomeranian, and I just couldn't resist because it's just so stinking cute. Is it about pairing still? Okay, I'll stick with the pairing question because I do have a few more that I bought this winter from the Talitha's Altar, and I do try to match something of the style or color of the bag, something that tells me what's in it. This one has my Medicine Woman tarot in it, and I sort of tried to match the general color. These two bags have my Lisa McLaughlin. This is the Plant Ally Oracle deck. These are really big decks, so they need extra large bags. And this one, which has kind of tree leaves on it, this one has my Tree Wisdom Oracle from Lisa McLaughlin in that. So I do sort of try to match theme, particularly easy when you're using fabric. It's going to be a lot easier when I'm back to sewing. What decides if you put a deck in its original box or a bag? If the box is not super strong, you know, if it's a tuck box and I'm going to be using the deck a lot, I'd rather have it in a bag. If it's difficult to get out of the box, I'd rather have it in a bag. I'll give you another example. My Farbinder ankle cards, I find them really difficult to get out of the box and then get back into the box again. This might just be me. So, I mean, like, I can do that to get them out of the box. But then when I put them back in the box, and I've actually broken the sides of this box slightly, broken it in a bit slightly. When I put them back in the box, I have to put them in a little bit at a time. Otherwise, if I try to stick them all in at once, I'm afraid. See, I'm afraid. I'm afraid one of them is going to be bent, and I don't want that. This is a really nice deck. So that is a bit of a problem. I bought these at like a TJ Maxx sort of place, and it's supposed to be for makeup. What I like about it is that it opens way up. So I could put a giant deck in there along with the crystal or whatever. Zip it up. And that sits very nicely on a shelf. And then it's very, very easy for me to get in and out. Super easy. Look how easy that is to get in and out. So when I'm using them a lot, I will swap them to a bag that's a little bit easier to use. Okay, one more thing that I wanted to show you, and I saw it when I was putting it away. This is the box that I keep my Froude's Fairy Oracle in. I'm talking about this one, the one that has this book with it. But I love this Oracle deck so much. I think it's one of my favorites. And I bought this box at just a craft store. It's a regular unfinished box. And we have a wood burning kit here at home, part of the many years of homeschooling and doing DIY crafts and other things that the kids learned how to do. And so Gracie, my daughter Gracie, was very kind enough to wood burn this box for me in something like a dandelion with the bits of the little seeds going away. And this is where I keep the Froude's Fairy Oracle. I did glue a piece of felt in the bottom, but another little trick that you can do is, in addition to putting a piece of felt in the bottom of a box, is you can put a piece of felt and then a ribbon. Yeah, so then the ribbon will lift out your deck for you if it's difficult to get them out of the box. This is a box I got at the dollar store. I'm so sorry. And it's for the I Am Power deck. I just glued that on from the printer. And, oh, I wonder it was making noise. So in the bottom, I glued a piece of felt. But before I did that, I glued down the end of this ribbon. So the end of this ribbon is glued all the way across here, underneath the felt, and then the felt is glued on top. Do you see how that works? And I made it long enough that once again the ribbon can go over. So it's that long underneath and this long on top. And then I put the deck in like this, and then that folds over and the lid closes. And that's how I store it. And as I showed you at the beginning, if you want to get it out, I just yank it off and the deck comes out relatively easily without having to dump it. You know, for this deck I do have to kind of dump it out. Put it back in very carefully. Okay, so I just wanted to show you those. I don't know, I may find some other interesting things. If I do, I'll snap a quick video and stick them in somewhere. This holds my Seeds of Shakti oracle. Again, this is another box from the Dollar Tree. This is a super duper box. My husband found this for me, I think last year maybe, because it has magnetic. Look at that, isn't that awesome? And I love the Seeds of Shakti oracle. I think it's just about one of my favorite oracles. And I got it in this little bag because I did a pre-order of the second edition. But I'm not a huge fan of drawstring bags. I find them hard to get in and out. But mostly, if you set drawstring bags on the shelf and you have them all stacked up on top of each other, they're all just going to slide off. And this is just too precious for that to happen to. So I stick it in this box. And the lid goes down, and I just printed that and glued it on as well from the printer. Okay, a quick couple more things that I found. These aren't as much about storage as they are about display. And let me start with these. These are miniature art easels. They're sold often at the craft store. We bought these at Walmart for literally 99 cents each. They're plain, unfinished, so they're just kind of that wood color. And my daughter Gracie painted a few for me, a couple in plain black, a couple in ink splatter, an ink splatter kind of look. Oh, so sorry. Which looks very pretty with colorful cards. They hold small cards, as you can see. They'll also hold very big cards. This is from the, sorry, there we go. You can see they actually do stay on there pretty nicely. I apologize again for the movement. That's from the Weaver's Oracle. I think that's about the biggest card I have. And it does stay on there. So those are a nice way. That's more about display. My husband made me a couple of these little blocks. And they're just blocks of pine wood, which he cut slits in. And I like the idea in theory. But they're not very sturdy, and so I think something heavier than pine, and maybe even something a bit longer would work. Another one that was purchased is, this is an acrylic business card holder that was just a couple of dollars at the office store, but it actually will hold almost a whole deck of cards if you want to, and it certainly holds one deck very nicely. And it does hold the large cards nicely, as you can see. Teeny, teeny, tiny cards. Not so much, but this is something that I also found. It's so that people can put their playing cards in there if they can't hold them. And it does hold the cards very nicely, but you can see they go down very low. So it tends to cover up all the words. These are all my little ones. And it also creates a slight curve to them because they're slightly curved, but that, you can see that disappears completely. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I do have two of these, and I liked the wood, but I really see the benefit of an acrylic. You know, I'm not a person who tends to like plastic. I think the benefit of an acrylic stand is that you don't lose any visuals on the card. So, you know, there's a lot to be said, I think, for that. If you could have anything in the world, what would be your ultimate storage area? I'm pretty happy with this current setup. I guess I'd probably like a little bit more. I'd like more shelf space. I think I would like more display space. My stuff's all kind of spread out. It would be nice to have it all in a little bit more of a single location, a little bit less spread out. But yeah, I guess that's just the way it needs to be right now. So, okay, before I go downstairs, I was going to show you where I store my crystals at the moment. I have 3 shelves that are rather high off the floor. You can see how high they are off the floor. That's my closet, bedroom closet door. to keep them away from the cat. Okay, so now we have moved down into the kitchen. So this is where I keep my essential oils. We've been using essential oils for a couple of years, and I bought a wall display for fingernail polish. I think it's like for beauty salons to put fingernail polish in, but it works really well for essential oils. Like I said, we've been using them as a family for about 4 or 5 years, so that's why I have quite a large assortment. And I wanted to keep them all in one place. At the top are some spray bottles I have. The little white bottle is full of Florida water. The other one is obviously bug spray. This is my large container of Florida water here. Do not drink. So I've relatively recently mixed this up. I'm not going to be able to lift it, but I mixed that from essential oils. Okay, so one more thing while I'm here, and this is the incense drawer here in the dining room. It does have a lighter weight, a couple of candles, some cone incense, Michelle. This is some loose sage. I think I've got a sage bundle back here. This is an incense holder that my husband made for big stick incense. There's a sage bundle back there. There's a shell. Whoops, that one fell. I'll get that in a minute. This is the last of my Palo Santo. Lasts forever though, so I probably won't have to order any for a while. Let's see, little candles, lots of stick incense here in the garage, and it's their original. If you're looking for incense and you're in the U.S., I don't know if they ship outside the U.S., but there is a website called incensewarehouse.com, and they have just all the incense at excellent prices. That's the incense drawer right by the games. Okay, so this is the living room where I actually do keep the rest of the books. We were a homeschooling family for 25 years, so we collected, these are just the books we kept. This is where I keep most of my philosophy, religious studies books, anthroposophy books. There are a couple of tarot books on here, spiritual books, self-help. There are some Reiki books on here, I believe. And my owl collection across the top there. Ooh, we've just gone dark. There you go. And some other sorts of, educational type books that I just wanted to hang on to. This does not count the books that are in each of the children's bedrooms, which are full of bookshelves as well. We're kind of a booky family, collecting books for a long time. Some more owls and the record collection there. Okay, so I'm back in my little corner in my bedroom. So I guess you can see why, with everything else spread out everywhere, that I think it would be nice if I could at some point have things more in one location, but we don't have a very big house, and we do have a lot of people who live in it. So that's it. That's my space. Now I'm gonna run off and edit all these cuts together. Hopefully they'll make sense, and you will have enjoyed this video. Thank you very much. Thanks to Jennifer for starting the tarot tag. And I look forward to seeing everyone else's interesting spaces and getting some cool ideas from the rest of you. So, bye-bye.